We're going to call this meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. And normally we just do our roll call visually because it's just us in the room. But because we have a member of the public, let's do something a little bit more formal and just go around and introduce ourselves. So I'm Jeannie Quirk. I am the current chair of this advisory board.
I'm Tracy Steele. I'm the admin here at the library and the board secretary.
I'm Diane Christ. I'm the city council liaison.
I am Jade. I'm with Awareness Initiative, and I'm hoping to step into Longmont a little bit more and get to know some of the boards and advisories that you have available, and hopefully be able to join them.
I'm Nicole Gallifrey, technically the vice chair of the board.
I'm Charlene Kelsey, and I've been on the board for a year. Has it been a year already?
I think so.
I think so, yes.
Great.
John Solomon, Library Director. Welcome.
And we have one member who's not with us
Oh.
tonight. And that's Katie Weiser. So our first order of business is to approve last month's minutes. Are there any questions or comments, changes that anyone wants to make? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second one.
Approved. Do we have any members of the public who would like to give comment at this time? Seeing none. We will move on to our new business. For our icebreaker this evening. It could have been a dream that I had, but Diane, had you volunteered last month to do this month's icebreaker?
Gosh, I hope not. because
Okay,
I'm not
no
prepared.
worries, no worries. I just carry extras in my pocket at all times. So for this month's icebreaker, we're just gonna go really easy, and it's going to be what your favorite thing about spring is. Like, what is something that you look forward to, or something that you only do during the season, or just something that brings you joy about this season?
Well, I'll start because I love this season. It's the flowers and all the little things leafing up.
Mm-hmm.
I spend a lot of time in the garden doing all the cleanup right now.
What's coming up right now where you are?
We have tulips blooming,
Oh, nice.
and the neighbor's crabapple tree is completely in bloom. It smells wonderful. Every time I go out, I start scraping some leaves off some other new little
Mhm.
things. That's what I love.
It's the opposite. Like, so dreading all of my gardening that I have to do.
Well, yeah, I'm retired.
You're invited over whenever you want.
Yeah, I'm retired and my kids are grown, so
Yeah,
you know
that's
it's
fair. That's fair. My kids don't help. They will.
will.
But I like, for this season, I really like taking my kids out for like a walk or whatever, and pointing out all the new stuff, and it makes me really think of like, oh, we're gonna really do a lot of like nature walks and things like that this year, and then it gets hot and I don't want to do it anymore. So I really like this season where it's like the right temperature to go enjoy the outside.
This will be good for me to jump in here because what I like about spring is we're that much closer to summer when it's hot.
Oh, yeah.
Not that there's been winter
No,
at all. I haven't missed it, but I am worried that we haven't had winter. Like, I feel like the whole state's going to be on fire and we won't be able to drink water anymore.
yeah.
I'm just not prepared.
What do you do? I mean, it's pretty bad. But I do like summer weather, so that's what I like.
Well, there's summer weather, then there's Colorado. So I do not have a green thumb. I appreciate all of nature in bloom, and my way of interacting with that is I resume my evening walks typically in the spring. So when it's real cold and it's still it gets dark early, I find excuses to not walk after dinner, but now I'm really enjoying, I feel motivated to go out for walks, and I have puppy, and so that's another excuse to get out and move, and just really admiring all the amazing gardening and landscaping that my neighbors do. My yard is still brown and crispy.
Tracy, you want to
Sorry. Trying to catch up. I mean, I can really echo a lot of what's already been said. With my daughter, she's always very inspirational for me to really stop and smell the roses, literally sometimes, and just really enjoy some things, slow down especially. So I think spring is kind of one of that, like, segue into summer of just getting outside more. And really, she has been really into wanting to plant things, and I'm like, I don't have a green thumb. We'll try it. So she's been really interested in trying to grow something. So we're going to try this year. See, we might have carrots at the end of the summer, but we'll see. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, she's just very inspirational to kind of help me to grow.
I recommend like a cherry tomato start or something from the farmer's market or something, because they just go crazy. They're so worth it.
Yeah,
The kids will just eat them as snacks.
Yeah.
I've had a hard time with carrots because they're ground.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But she's adamant that we do carrots.
Well,
yeah.
I will try.
My daughter did that last year with radishes. Those are spicy.
Yeah, but that.
This is fascinating. As a kid, I was
Do you eat
like,
vegetables?
yeah, yeah, but I don't grow them. My green thumb sounds about as good as yours. But I mean, as a kid, I would have never thought, like, oh, I want a garden. And then
love it.
specifically radishes.
Oh my god, it was a fight.
This is
Yeah.
amazing.
Is it inspired, like,
We went to the flower bin and there were seed
Okay.
packets, and I was like, you can pick one, and she's like, this one.
was it like a pig rabbit or something?
No, it was just random.
There was a children's picture book that made me really fantasize about radishes. Like, they were just so beautiful, and the bunnies were enjoying them so much that, like, certainly I would enjoy them. And then I tried them as a child, and no.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, they were
not
eating them
edible.
last year. I have so many pictures of them, videos of them like straight out of the dirt, rinse them off in the hose, and then they just take a bite, and then they go, oh, and just spit it right out.
My tongue's on
Like,
fire.
you guys did so well, girly. Whatever. You're not doing
Beat this,
it.
Diane.
I'm sorry, I can contribute, which are breakfast radishes. They're longer and you can eat them directly.
Okay. They're not as
Sharp.
Okay. Interesting.
Start carrots early. And
These two.
and I love spring because it's the perfect time to bicycle and also play tennis. Whereas when it gets to summer, I know the reflection and all that, I burn very easily, so I don't get to play as much. Sage.
Oh, am I on the spot now? Okay. Yeah, kind of like the other day, my daughter and I were walking, and of course it's March, and it should be winter, and there should be a foot of snow out there. And we've got dogs, and I get this wonderful aroma. And I'm like, where is that coming from? And I'm looking at the apartments, wondering if somebody got incense or something. And I look up, and lo and behold, the whole tree is blooming, and I haven't noticed that this is even happening. I've just been so busy in life and so focused. And so spring to me is that refocus. It's, all that newness and stuff. So I think we all appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on. We wanted to update the board on where council landed with the interview process. And I feel like there are others better equipped to speak to this than myself.
Well, this has been the topic amongst the boards, for sure. But basically, the process is very similar in that the board will choose at least 2 board members to do interviews, and then the staff liaison and the council liaison will sit through the interviews, have questions that you agree upon beforehand. And I think it says that you have to submit them to city council, but I've not seen a lot of, what should I say, great censorship of those questions. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, where we're not.
Questions coming from
Well, generally the boards come up with questions for interviews and they submit them, and maybe just to the staff, and then staff maybe brings it to council. I remember seeing a few here and there, but I don't remember to stick in my mind that I had seen from every board. So, the big change is that the council liaison will sit in with the interviews, so that the whole council will not actually do interviews separately. We will record it, and then others can watch if they want to. And we had some deliberation about whether a nomination recommendation would be done by the board. And where we landed is that yes, we would want to hear some recommendations. Understanding, and I think maybe that was the rub, is that the feeling was if we didn't take the recommendation, maybe that wasn't maybe it was a reflection on the board, but that's not necessarily it. So all the counselors will have the packets that people submit, and and we'll have opportunity to view the interviews with them. And the whole board can do the interviews, but if you're up for re-nomination, then you should opt out, which wasn't specified before. Yeah, but we feel like that's best practice. So. Any questions on that? Is that? I try to keep it low key because I don't think it's a big change.
It's not. I think having you, so our liaison in interviews would be the change.
Right.
Mhm.
But the process that this board has done is the same.
Mhm.
You do have a set of interview questions, I thought.
I misheard, so we don't have to come up with new interview questions,
No.
because we already
We
just
have. We have.
revisited our
Yeah.
questions.
But one thing that I'm hearing that I don't know that the board has done is sent those questions to council in advance,
Okay.
which
I think that's
think
written in
it's
the
certainly done.
procedure, but I don't know that we've strictly followed that. I think it goes to staff and you kind of go forward with it. So once the board approves them,
yeah.
staff is comfortable with them, and I think it's written that the council liaison would have the final decision on if they particularly disagree with a question. But from my point of view, I plan to be just the silent listening type. And I'm on some very technical boards, so
Mhm.
the water board, for instance. Now, tell me what you know about it.
God.
I'm out taking notes going, okay, that's interesting to know.
So,
Well, we do make people prove that they know the Dewey Decimal System.
Alphabetizing.
Wouldn't
that be something?
I pass. So what I'm hearing is that we are no longer going to have a separate board, a second interview for applicants.
Correct.
That is that's the main change.
Yeah.
It's just how council.
The trade-off is the council
and staff
sits on the
work.
interviews in the
Yep.
first place.
That sounds
which really-
sufficient.
Yeah, that sounds.
I feel like that makes
Yeah.
sense.
And then other counselors' investigation of that will be watching the videos or reviewing the rubric that you have.
Okay.
And then also relying on the liaison to say, I was very impressed with this candidate, which we have always done. I've always done that in the past.
I guess I'm still confused about how we would the board then deliberate with you or without you before making a recommendation to you, and then you would go to council and make your own recommendation with how does that part work?
I would say that I would prefer that you deliberate with me there, but I wouldn't have a vote in it. I just
Okay.
would want to hear what the deliberation
Okay.
is. And then if you were to ask me, I would say.
Got it. And so then, but it would still be like the board's recommendation,
It would
which
be the
we would,
board's
okay,
recommendation.
and then separately, I assume you would own going to rest of council and being like, this is what I thought from.
Mhm.
and this is what the board thinks. Okay, cool.
And then if they've watched all the interviews and they say, well, I noticed this candidate wasn't recommended, and I'm not saying that would happen with library board, but there are some boards where there are multiple candidates. And they would say, well, why, and this has happened in the past, so now it can be a little bit smoother. Say, well, why was this candidate not recommended? Because like they had a lot of subject knowledge. And then I could say, and this has happened in the past too, is it seems that, you know, this individual does have a lot of subject knowledge, but maybe was particularly nervous, or was maybe not as social as that board tends to gear towards, or in the more needy boards, not as reclusive and nerdy as that board tends to favor. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Are all of those things, are like our recommendations and all that, is that all public record?
It is, yeah.
Our recommendation
Yeah.
from the board.
And it's just a way to, you know, in the past, since I've been in the last 2 years participating, you all would do the interviewing and you would have a recommendation, and then the council would get together and do their own interviews, and whoever was the liaison then just led the interviews with that particular candidate group. So in some ways, it's a little more fair to the applicants because they'll all be treated with the same questions or the same scope of questions. Or face the council who maybe has different ideas.
Nicole, was there something behind that question of it being a public record? Like, what are you wondering?
If an applicant, if the board was familiar with an applicant, or if the board interviewed an applicant and wanted to not recommend that applicant, the reason for not recommending that applicant would be public record.
What I heard you ask is whether the recommendation was a public record.
Mm-hmm.
But I was wondering if you were also asking if our notes or our discussion
Yeah.
or the recording of the interview itself were public record.
Are all of those not public record?
I don't know.
Oh.
I would say no, but the rubric, if you have a grading rubric, that would be. So all documentation, I would say, would be. And then the interviews are just to city council.
And I assume the board's deliberation would also have to be
Private. For the most part. You have a
I don't think that has to be
liaison,
recorded.
Yeah,
a
it's
council
not recorded.
liaison and a staff liaison.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be open to the public. Don't all of our meetings have to be open to the public?
Yeah.
Is that technically something? Right, so like, do the deliberations have to be recorded?
So in the past, I think when we've done interviews, we have had 2 board members. I think if you have more than 2, it constitutes a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't had the full board.
I see.
And then liaison doesn't count.
Essentially,
That is an
And-
excellent question,
and I
because
don't-
I don't think we addressed that in our
Interesting.
Yeah.
procedure. But if you choose to have the whole board present, we may need to have that.
Or yeah.
And the other thing that I remembered from the last round that we did was, we did not submit documentation. We have worksheets with our questions as a guide for us during the interview, but what was submitted to the city clerk, I had to write up, once we had a recommendation based on discussion, I had to write up a letter that I then submitted to the city clerk, and that was just the board recommends so-and-so, and any of there was no detail or reasons, just that we felt that they were the strongest candidate. We didn't have to qualify our recommendation. So if that were to change, I think we would want to know that.
Do you use a rubric at all, or is it?
We recently revisited sort of the framework that we were using. I wouldn't really call it a rubric. There was something where, you know, we could circle on a scale of 1 to 5 how strong we felt an applicant's response was to each question, but it was more personal. We weren't
It's more subjective.
right.
Mhm.
It wasn't tied to anything measurable. It's just opinion and a way of keeping track for yourself, so that when you had the discussion,
When you're back there, you're looking at your
right,
own.
right.
Yeah, it was more us having a copy of the questions and a space for us to take notes.
Mhm.
That was.
Because we voted to change that and get rid of the numbers because we didn't feel like they were necessary because they weren't tied to anything concrete. You could just as easily say weak, strong, very strong, you know, substitute it with other words. But we've never collected them or shared them. So if that changes, we just need to know. And this is a very timely conversation because we have vacancies. And we need to
And the application
get on
process
it.
is open now.
It's open, and for the past month, 2 months, we've brought up, do we want to have a little bit more of a formal recruiting plan than we have in recent history? And now it feels like, you know, it felt like, oh, well, that's still a little ways out. We have time to ask some questions and get some clarity and see what the council is going to do with the process. And now it feels like it's coming up. And one thing, I'm going to confirm number of vacancies. Was it 3? 2? 3.
Technically 3, yes, because 2 of the current board members, their terms expire June 30th. Charlene, yourself, and Katie, both of your terms
Okay.
expire. You are both eligible for re-election, but you do have to reapply.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I forgot.
And then
So
if you
you
are
might-
up for
you must
re-election, you
accept it.
cannot serve on the nominating committee.
So I guess you and I are interviewing.
What?
By default.
So is it-
Now that comes up now.
Unless,
Makes it easy.
unless either Charlene or Katie are not running. for
Unless they
election.
decide not to reapply.
Yeah. Has Katie only had one term already?
This is her first term.
This is
First term, but you've only had a partial term.
Yeah.
It was filling, you know, Tracy knows, they're filling vacancies and
Yeah.
that of people that resign, they didn't leave at the end of a term.
Yeah.
So that's why
Yeah.
there's moving target dates.
But this is interesting. Is the language 2 full terms that you can serve, or is it 2 terms, 2 consecutive terms? Because
It has in the past been 2 full terms, and you didn't mess with that.
Yeah, because.
which means that you could do 2 more terms after this.
Okay.
So you could do.
Oh, because of the
you
full
could do a
part.
total of 8 years in a row.
Okay. Because each term is 3 years, but I've only done one.
You've only done half. You've not done a full.
You haven't done a
Haven't
full
done a full
term.
You have not done
Yeah.
any full terms. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's
I was
interesting.
I'm sorry, you have to. After just 1 year.
Well, at least I know the questions already.
Yes,
I helped
indeed.
draft them.
Whereas Katie she's done a full term. She joined at the beginning
Yes.
of the term. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it was Barbara was the other one that
Right.
did it.
Barbara
And then
joined.
she
yeah,
resigned.
She's
So the process is still that board members who wish to continue would need to reapply,
Mhm.
Okay.
submit a new application through the website, do
Yeah.
that whole
Okay.
thing again.
Yeah.
And that's open already?
Yeah,
It
just
is,
opened.
Yeah, I think last week.
And when is the closing date?
Can we do the full timeline of this? Do we? Have
Yes, that was.
Yeah, that would be.
No, it closes in April, but that could be.
Yeah. Also the interviewing, because I have to be there. Let's see.
I remember interviewing you 3. I would be interested to hear, did you find that intimidating at all with the council, or was it pretty easy going?
I just felt it was repetitious of what the board had asked me.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I have
think
to say,
so,
at
too.
least I knew what I was gonna say, because I'd already said it.
Yes,
And I did not really like the Zoom thing,
right.
you know, I really prefer meeting people in person. Cause you don't get any cues, really.
Right,
You know.
but we have a problem as a council to,
Well, I
you
know.
to not
Yeah.
be in the same room together, so,
Yeah, yeah.
even though it is
But
recorded.
I'm hoping that maybe at least the board can meet with people in
I
person.
wish we could just like
Yeah, but I think we'll
vote
arrange.
internally on whether to,
To reappoint somebody.
yeah.
Yeah.
Seems-
Is there a timeline anywhere on this website?
Yeah, there is on the boards and commissions page. It's April 24th is the deadline for
Okay.
applications. It runs the 16th, March 16th through April 24th.
Oh, okay. And then, do we know the council's recommendation deadline at all?
So
You happen to know that, you don't know?
it's usually, I want to say May. I could look at my email when I had to,
Because they wouldn't start until July, the July meeting, because that would be after the terms have expired.
I don't we usually, I think we usually vote in June, and then the
Yeah,
new
it's-
applicants start in July. Does
Yeah.
that sound right?
So we'll need to be interviewing in May.
Probably in May.
So then we could figure that schedule out by the next month's meeting. We don't need to do it this time. Okay. Yeah, okay, because we meet April 20th. So the applications will be open, so then we can just sort it out then. Can we note to put that on the agenda for next
Yeah.
month?
It's feeling familiar because, so the people submit applications and then the city gives those to Tracy, says this is who's applied.
I think once
Because I feel
that's
like I've received that info from you.
Yes. Yeah, they usually send it, I think, you and me. Yeah, once that's closed, once we've had all applicants, applications. And then, yeah, those would be then shared for the interviews. after
Right.
we've received them.
So then we find out there's been 2 applications or 5 applications or whatever, and we are not inundated. We have not been inundated.
Oh, this will be the year.
Well,
With applications.
We have what, 3 vacancies?
3 vacancies, technically.
What, 3 vacancies with 2 potential vacancies?
We have room right now for 1, if Katie and Charlene wish to remain on the board, that's 1 spot for a brand new person.
I appreciate it.
So next month, it makes sense that we would have the conversation here about how interviews are gonna go, because we're probably, no, we won't.
We won't have the applications,
We won't have the applications yet. The deadline's the 24th.
so we'll have to coordinate.
Yeah, I think you should come up with some dates, or you
Mhm.
all should come up with some dates, since I guess I would be there too.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the city clerk will still schedule for us. So we'll need to have the room, do you usually do it here?
I mean, we've scheduled them ourselves.
Oh, have you?
And then it's been a mix, of here or on Zoom. It kind of depends on. We've offered that because I never thought of the public meeting aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was more convenient for somebody, to do their interview on Zoom. So I have a note to ask the city clerk some of these questions, by the way, so.
It's been a while since we did it in person. Right, just trying to
Yeah.
coordinate everybody's
Everybody's
schedules.
schedule.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah,
lot
I
easier
get
just to
that.
coordinate Zoom for everything.
Mine was in person.
Mine was too, but it was
Mine was 2 years.
5, 4 years ago. But Diane, what you brought up, has me wondering now. So we could pre-coordinate or pre-decide on some dates ahead of time. But I remember the applicants themselves needing some flexibility with scheduling.
Yeah.
So is it possible or is it advisable to have some dates and times picked out
I would
before we
say-
know
Yeah.
what's gonna work for our applicants?
Definitely dates, and I would say windows of time that are most available. That's what we said last recruitment process, and then they kind of determined what, and then they are limited to just 30 minutes. Is that still correct? For
That's
interviews? Yeah, so we would just do the 30-minute time slots within whatever windows of time we have available for them.
Do we
Yes,
not
yes.
know how many applicants there are until the thing closes? Is there any way you
Until
can
the-
find out?
25th of
Well,
Okay.
everyone could get it in at the
On the last day,
4:59
true.
on.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, cause our meeting is 4
Yeah, I know. But I mean, I think if we just say, if we look at, my guess is the first full week of May, like May 4th or something, if we just kind of made sure all three of us are available that week at various times. I don't have a lot of business hour availability. I have one afternoon that I could do maybe, but otherwise it would have to be after business hours for me.
That's fine. For 30 minutes, I can be pretty flexible, but I do have a lot of
But it could be
conflicts.
5 30-minute slots, so that's the thing.
Yeah. I'm fine doing it outside of the 9 to 5. I don't know about you, Diane.
Well, yeah, and I right away see how this is gonna go for council because I have 7 boards.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I used to be able to schedule one Saturday.
Yeah.
And so, that's a lot of scheduling with my calendar, so. I think counselors might find this a little bit challenging, but, we'll see. I also think it'll be streamlined and a little bit easier, to just do it as a board.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, to answer your question, after hours is fine. Usually I have, water board is usually the same day as this meeting, so it's pretty much from 3 to 2:30 to 8:30 that I'm tied up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they will choose their typical time to do interviews. They
Mhm.
might.
I mean, we could try that, like, depending on, we could wait and see how many applications we get. And then if there are a lot, we could try saying, we're just gonna block off, 2 hours on this day and 2 hours on this day and just do several back to back.
Say 2 different Mondays or
Right,
Mondays generally.
for example.
Yeah.
But then you're really expecting the candidates to be able to work with.
Well, if they can't do Mondays from 7 to 9, then I don't know if they're gonna.
Yeah.
That's gonna work out.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
An off week. That's interesting.
yeah, of course,
yeah, like if that's tough for them, then that's.
yeah.
Doesn't
So we
bode
could just
well.
say, we could just say that, we could just say Mondays from 7 to 9, whatever
Prove
whatever
your
we can do.
availability.
I mean, I don't have anything at that time on my calendar yet, so.
And then just to know that if we follow our usual rhythm, our May meeting is on the 18th.
Yeah. So I mean, if we get, it depends on how quick the turnaround is. I don't think we would be doing April 27th. But if we did May 4th and May 11th from 7 to 9, gave people that availability, hopefully we only need one of those. Maybe we would start with just May 4th or whatever, and then
Mm-hmm.
if we get more than 4 applicants, then look into.
I'll do a part one.
That would be, yeah, there you go. I will watch that.
So it'd be good.
So yeah, that sounds like a plan. So I'm gonna block off May 4th and May 11th, I was just thinking.
Any other logistical bits are, because the last thing I wanted to revisit is, do we want to have a more formal recruiting plan? We missed the opportunity, unfortunately. I will take some of the responsibility for this, but to have either a table or a handout at the last Friends sale. So they're not doing their next Friends sale until June. But that said, we're still relying on word of mouth and the city website and any communications that the city is putting out. I think I have seen things in the past where those board applications are announced, but do we want to do anything as an advisory board to more actively recruit?
Is there any notice anywhere in the library?
Yeah, I mean, we can certainly post a
Sort of
flyer, like,
flyer or
yeah,
something?
like we do with events on the doors. And,
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sure that I could get our marketing person to make some social posts about it.
Yeah,
That's
that would be nice, 'cause.
that's pretty like low hanging, but we haven't done it. The board hasn't done that
Well,
before.
people
so-
who use the library,
Yeah.
good candidates.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they already have an interest.
I'd love to also see some of that in like more diverse areas of the
Yeah.
library, like if we could, or more diverse events. We could have, if we can make up a little flyer to put around somewhere, I mean, like kind of getting that in places where it's not the typical people who are looking to volunteer for the board would
Right.
be awesome.
Right.
So I'm kind of looking at the upcoming events, like I don't know how many people come, but like, I don't know, just like the Spanish-English conversation group, like I don't know how these, I don't know, if you guys have any ideas, if the library has any ideas.
Yeah,
on
I mean,
how
we-
to-
That's another thing I think we could do is kind of, you know,
Just have
it's
them.
easy to make a little half flyer or something, or just put some things around on some of those programs. And then with our outreach person, you know, maybe where she goes, that might be a good opportunity too. And as long as she has material, then, you know, she can easily distribute that.
That would be awesome.
So I can help with that.
That would be great.
You know.
Yeah, before our next meeting would be way too late for that, so that would be, you'd be taking the lead on that one, so,
Yep.
is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, what was the thing that we said, Nicole said, we would definitely need to talk about next month?
Next agenda, the interview scheduling that we're talking about.
That was it?
Well,
We're
and
saying-
I don't think we actually will be able to do anything next month. So I
Mhm.
honestly think our potential plan right now of just having May 4th and 11th from 7 to 9 as a maybe. We're probably
Mhm.
gonna have to coordinate off screen here,
Okay.
to make sure that we're booked. Is that something that, like, Tracy, would you help me coordinate that? Like, I'm not.
Yeah, if you're
okay.
Yep.
doing it as in person, like this room probably, yes.
And it could be Zoom too, like it doesn't, I mean, or the three of us could be here in person if that's easiest for us or whatever. But,
At this point, my calendar's open. So
okay,
answer.
yeah, I just blocked it
Especially
off for me.
Send me a
So if you,
meeting
Mhm.
invitation.
Yeah, because I don't think anything's gonna be different April 20th yet, so it will have to be after applications close and after we get them.
It'll be
Tracy will be like,
exactly
oh, we
in
have-
between two board meetings.
Yeah, exactly. So if Tracy says, oh, we have 3, then hopefully we can schedule them all for the 4th.
Right.
If they can't make it on the 4th from 7 to 9, we have to be like, are you gonna be able to make it to the future? Like, is this a one-off or what is this, you know? Which I think is good like way to suss that out. And if there's 5 applicants or something like that, then we can do the 4th and 11th. Does that all sound
And you're
reasonable?
involved. or,
I have sat in, just like how Diane described herself as a listener.
okay.
So it seems like a plan.
That sounds great. What, where did we land with putting a little something on the library website?
Same as what we were just talking about with the
So we
social.
can have,
I'll
like,
include the website,
A little
like our
sidebar
website.
or
yeah.
something that takes the person into the city.
Right, yeah, something that's a little more prominent because, and we have no control over the board and commission webpage basically anyway.
I know, it's just,
But we do over our own website, so my marketing person is out this week and back next week, so that'll be my priority is to get with her and get some things out.
Thank you.
But Tracy and I can come up with like the language of it, and then she can just take it and post it.
It could be a QR code that goes to, or a link that goes to
It
the.
will-
It's
it
the
will be.
visibility.
Like whatever, like.
That's the frustration, is like, it doesn't have to be like this complicated thing, it's the visibility of
Yep.
having it on
Yeah,
the
just
library
awareness.
site.
Exactly, yeah.
Because unless you already are thinking about being on a board or commission, you're waiting for applications to open, you already know
Mhm.
that that's an opportunity, you're likely not to be on the city's page
Right.
and see that information.
Yeah.
So I do wanna push this out a little bit more, to try to get a larger pool.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's important to get it in places where people are not like already thinking
Yeah.
about it.
Mhm.
I'd rather it be somebody who is, you know, passionate about the library, or maybe isn't even, maybe just is like, I wish I was passionate about the library, and here's the things that I would like to see change or whatever. Like I would like to see more diversity of experiences and things like that, so.
Should bring some to the museum too. Different, like I'm just thinking of places around Longmont, that rec center. Yep.
We'll get some things out there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's good to have the timeline, it's good to have clarity around the process and who's gonna be on the interviewing group and, what, yeah.
It feels successful already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Send good vibes out to the universe.
Yeah. You know, when the city puts out their flyer about, you know, would you like to be on a board or commission? I don't know that people automatically think about the library as a potential.
Good
I'm
point.
just saying,
I usually, because I saw it in the newspapers, how you want to
Okay.
apply, and they usually list the boards that have vacancies.
Mhm.
yeah.
So, you
I
know,
don't know if
I didn't see
applied
it,
a lot,
but
maybe it did.
I wouldn't have applied. So,
Yeah.
All right, well, this sums up our new business for this month. We'll dip into a couple of hopefully brief, old business items. The piece about the talking points, I know we've been mentioning that, and I wanted to propose just a process for moving those forward. And that would be for me and Tracy, or me and John, like for us to just draft something, kind of how Margaret did, for us earlier in the year, and then bring that to the next meeting. I'm trying to, not fast track it, but I just want to get it done so that we have something that we can discuss and sculpt, and I don't care if we change every word, but we need a place to start. With the ultimate goal being to have something short and sweet that all of us can have and keep however you want, in your glove box, digitally, but have as a reference for those conversations out in the community. These are all the things you could talk about having to do with the library. These are sort of the points that are most timely, most aligned with the library's strategic plan, where we need the most public support and awareness of the issues, right? So I think having Tracy and John kind of help with that prioritization, and then also filling in some of any data points that we
Yeah.
want to have.
Yeah.
I love an infographic. So, my big thought is like, would we want to have our talking points, but then be able to use those same points to create like a little rack card or something that has some infographics that we could put out in the library, could have around, could hand to people that wouldn't live with us. So very open to other platforms or other media like pieces. But I just know we've talked about this for a while, and I just want to check it off.
Yeah.
We'll
It's
have
always
new
easier
board
to-
members joining, and then
Yeah, it's always easier to react
hand that
to
to them.
something.
yes,
It's like we did with the questions for the
Yeah.
interviews. Then we can really work on it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that too.
So that the board member gets a binder and some talking points and some rack cards to bring to their yoga studio, and it'll be great.
Can I just make a suggestion that, I think we've talked about this a couple of times, but I feel like we've talked with two different focus, and it's the like, what does the library do that people don't know that it does? Like, what do we have available that a lot of people do not know about? And also separately, what is the library currently lacking because of budget and things like that, right? Like, I feel like we've kind of talked about those two things in parallel, so I definitely think we should, and it might be that it's two completely different cards, depending on what our audience is or whatever. Maybe it's all on one card, whatever. But I definitely think we need to cover both of that and have the, like, especially when we're talking about the data and things like that. I think having both of those, and an infographic about all the things you can get out of the lending library or whatever, and then also some kind of data from a lot of the investigations you've done of comparing this library's
Yeah.
budget to different cities. Like, I think both of those things are so important. So.
Agree. I think, I did dabble in this a little bit between the last meeting. I reached out to my public library director colleagues. Like, have I'm a fan of not reinventing the wheel big time. And I'm like, some of your boards probably have done this, like elevator speech type of stuff, right? Which is kind of this, or it's also that, I think. So, I got some good pointers, but someone from our state library reported back and mentioned just what you're talking about, like with some of those data points that could be in an infograph that kind of help be able to talk about this library and where we stand, where we align with other libraries in a lot of factors, right? Like what we spend in comparison to what somebody else spends on per capita, right? And where we rank, that kind of stuff I think people want to know. And then the other thing, just for fun, I kind of put this into AI. Like, give me an elevator speech for, what I put in is the library's core values from our strategic plan. And it was really interesting, and I thought kind of fun, And so it took all that language and then it, gave me some, like, here's like a basic one, and it's like, here's one like that it might be targeted more towards city officials or elected officials, one that would be targeted towards a non-library user. So pieces of these could help. I mean, it was, I don't know, when you talk about like not having a blank slate,
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay, now I have something I can work with.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just to
You
kind of
need
add
that
those pieces, because this was on my
block of
mind
marble.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we did like something really rough, in my opinion, but better than nothing, for when we had that ballot initiative.
Mhm.
The Friends had it as a little card, and it just had some little things on it, but it was that same spirit of like, did you know? Like, did you even know? Like, left hand, this is what we've got, this is what we don't got. but I loved the, I know it wasn't like as perfect as it could be, but I really love the slides that you shared with us with that website, like just comparing
Mm-hmm.
visually where we stood on all of these different points with other libraries.
Right.
Yeah,
That was powerful.
I did too, but now, when I'm talking to someone, I can't remember the exact
No.
details.
No,
like-
exactly.
That's where you want
Yeah.
like a
That-
little.
just a little card or something, yeah,
Mhm.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
Put on people's windshield wipers, like the Costco parking lot.
Oh God.
Well, the nice thing is like once we have this like format, like once we have a
Simmer down.
template for this, when you get what more information or information is updated, you just update it and you have
Mhm.
a new one every quarter
Exactly.
or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's nice. Or if we realize during a meeting that something that John says is super interesting, we might be like, oh hey, let's add that
Right.
to the
All right, so that's coming back. No other questions or requests? That locker update.
Okay. We have, so as a reminder, the whole pickup lockers is what we're talking about. And the one at Ascent Housing over is installed, fully installed.
wow.
It's not operating yet because staff are still testing and trying to figure out routes. There's a lot involved,
Yeah.
right? But I can show you because it also got its wrap put on the other day.
Oh, that's cool.
And I just think this turned out
Yeah.
phenomenal.
This is so cool. Who designed this?
A former library employee who left to pursue her art full time.
Okay. Neat.
So I reached out to her and, you want a project? She said, sure. Yes. Yeah.
That's cool.
In our, if you probably haven't seen it, you'll start seeing this design in a few places, right? So the van that we have that we recently got to move, that's been wrapped in the same design.
Cool.
We'll do it in some other
I
places
was
too.
gonna say you're gonna do it some.
Yeah, on the Emory side, that big banner we have,
Mhm.
that's been there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, it's on.
Just right outside the.
Yeah, right
Yes.
outside the door.
Oh, okay, yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It says like investing in
Yeah.
our libraries is investing in our communities. Anyway,
Yeah.
I love it, but it has been there a while.
Okay.
They're not insignificant to change out. A while ago, before my time, we got some money, I think, through the Friends to do that. I don't remember how it started. But I want to replace it and I want to use this.
Nice.
It would be nice to freshen that up. I think we're going to do a library card for National Library Week, which is the third week of April. So there's a lot there to do. I have just you kind of just see the couple angles. So I haven't fully decided when this will open up. I mean, it's already in the system. The patrons can't see it to place a hold yet. Just because we're still getting kind of our act together a little bit. The Ascent one, I think I mentioned this before, this came about faster than I thought it would. When this was all new, they barely broke ground on Ascent, and I'm like, well, easily that's like a year or 2 years out. And then, one day I get a call from the project manager. He's like, I got to sign off on this development, and your locker's holding me up. When's it getting installed? And I'm like, I said, I can get it installed. I mean, so we got it shipped out anyway. So we'll eventually put this, but I've also been a little bit in a holding pattern because the one that is destined for Lashley Street Station had a little snag where I had to delay the installation and get some additional approvals from up to the city manager, but I got the green light on that.
On that issue we talked about.
Yes. So my contact, part of that requires pouring some concrete. a little bit in order to have enough, because it has a certain amount it has to have. And so as soon as that gets poured, everything else is ready. And then I can schedule that to get delivered. What I would like to do, I don't know if it's going to happen this fast given where we are in March. I mean, I was really hoping like maybe this would get done around National Library Week. I would like to use the Lashley Street one as sort of like a ribbon cutting, like to announce the lockers, even if this one is already in use, you know, sort of like a soft launch. So that's kind of what's on the library's mind with that.
Which week is that, National Library?
It's the 19th through the 25th of April. So that would be great. I don't know if that's going to actually happen, but I still will, even if it's not that week. That's highly
We're
unlikely.
having our retreat at the end of this week at Ascent. So,
Oh.
love for
Oh,
all the
you
counselors
get to see it.
yeah.
Mhm.
But
I was out there at the open house when this wasn't wrapped yet. It was just the white metal cabinet. But I was able to talk to some people there. I just kind of hung out and lingered. I didn't think far enough in advance to get on the agenda for the open house, like, and tell people what this is. But something I learned by going there that I didn't realize, so Ascent is partnering with the Our Center and we'll have a child care center at that housing development. And so right across from this locker is the child care. And I'm like, oh, so the library will be there. We'll also be getting a book return drop there too.
Oh, cool.
So we can, really hopefully get this out to the residents there. Obviously, that's the most convenient thing ever.
Did you think about like a little bulletin board or something next to either of these units? Like just like something that would have some current information about what's happening at the library? Like,
We have talked about that in general.
or if they have a community bulletin board?
Yeah. I'm sure
there's
they
a
do.
clubhouse there.
There's a clubhouse, and that's where this sits. In fact, where this sits outside is like where the offices are and the workout. It's like a central place, so we can certainly do that. I know we talked about it. We talked about it more at the beginning of all this when I wasn't sure when Ascent was having, so it wasn't on my mind. I was thinking about it with Lashley Street, and staff were too. Like, so because we've got this huge wall, like, so what can we put there to have other information on the library? But the QR codes here will bring people there too. But anyway, very
Even if in the clubhouse you just like a stack of the seasonal
exactly
things.
Right.
the brochures
Yeah,
were easily
exactly.
put there.
I'm sure they would.
Yeah.
Or you could buy like just like one of those stick-on plastic brochure holders, put it on the side of the locker.
True.
Well, except that's gonna be outside.
It's got a little awning on the top.
It does. I mean, but if it's somewhat protected, and also this is metal, so
Well,
we
like
can
the
make use of
realtors,
magnets.
they have a little.
Oh, yeah.
The
The little
flag.
flag, flag.
Yeah.
That's true.
Trail
Trail mat.
Is there gonna be
That goes into
a book
QR.
return slash?
But a lot of people
I
are.
think it makes
We've
sense.
learned
Patients.
that.
Yeah.
People will use them.
There's a QR code.
Yeah, yeah,
Divisions to have a book return in both locations,
Yeah.
though, eventually?
yeah. I think you need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, people will just leave them somewhere.
They
Probably.
leave them next to the,
I mean, it doesn't.
the locker.
You figure if you're providing the convenience of picking up your library holds at a locker, then logically that person might think, well, how do I return them? And it's like, well, now you do have to go to the library. Sorry. So yeah, we will have that. That's so. Hopefully next month I'll have maybe some more information about Lashley. The concrete person said he was getting the schedule. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is exciting,
Mhm.
because we'll be there at the end of the week,
Yeah.
doing all the. I love the wrap too, and we're doing a city flag redesign.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
So, yeah, there's an artist that should be contacted, I think.
Yeah.
Did she say why coyotes?
It's
just, what's that?
it's a common, it's something common in her art.
Oh, okay.
And, I think as an artist, if
You
people
just-
recognize that and like, oh, that's Grace Gutierrez art because it has coyotes, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I had some elements I wanted, like on the bottom, you see the building, the black and white. This is old Library Hall, and Longmont's the first public library in the state.
Mhm.
So that
That's
got
cool,
added
yeah.
outside of her artwork.
Yeah.
And initially it was, she came up with a theme that was very deserty, and so I made it more. I asked, can it be more Longmont? Have the
Yeah. Yeah.
the Twin Peaks, and then elements of Colorado. So the sunflowers, the robin.
Yeah.
So that's the coyotes was kind of her
That's
thing,
her
and I was
thing,
like,
yeah.
use that. I like how they're all, I mean, it's not like they don't exist in Colorado.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah. She did have something also a very deserty animal, and I was like, that doesn't exist in Colorado. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this does.
Like a Gila monster? Like,
Something,
Yeah.
some kind of reptile,
okay.
No, we don't.
which also looked scary to me.
We don't want to scare the children.
It's quite a thing to like, someone's creating something, and I'm so hesitant to be like, I don't like this. This is like, but you have to, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's the lock update, I guess, for now.
Just smoothly segue into your director's
I can
report.
go into library director report. Okay. Which one do I start with? Some things, if you had time to look in your packet ahead of time, I can explain why they were in there.
There's a lot of stuff.
I know. You're welcome. I don't
And the
always.
minutes are long.
Yeah, I know.
It's a weird.
So I'll kind of start with what I wrote down. One of them was upstairs we have these two like glass display cases that are for the public or staff to use to display whatever. And what I had attached to the policy was to the packet is what it's called. I attached the policy, which is so if someone basically comes upstairs and like, I do pottery, I would love to display it in your case. So then they get this thing that has the policy and then an application, and they fill it out, and then we have a staff member that administers that, and they can request a date or a month, and if it's available, they'll get it. And usually people display through a month. And it just occurred to me that because that policy is not on our website, it's unique to those display cases. So I just wanted you to have awareness of it. Sometimes we get questions on that from some community members of like, why can't I have this the same time every year? And it's because, we're trying to be equitable and fair to everybody who might want to display, and it's limited. This is something too that predates me. I don't know how we got the display cases, or the intention of it. We use them too, right? So like during or around Dia de Muertos, I have a staff member that does an elaborate ofrenda in there, and it's really beautiful. So we use it too, but we try to really have it for the public. And I just wanted the board to be aware of that, because I don't think I've ever talked about the display cases up there and what the purpose is behind it. That's all. And if you had read it, if you had questions about it. It seems to be enjoyed by many.
Oh, I love it.
It's an added value. I see it as a value add thing to this library. It's
always something
It's
interesting.
very like community.
Yeah.
Like it invites the
yeah.
community to co-create the library
Yeah.
space.
And we try to keep it pretty, not a whole lot of rules. I think that the biggest rule in there is because we're a public space, we don't want someone displaying and then putting price tags on it. You could put contact info, but we're not here to help you sell art. That's probably the biggest thing to know out of all of that.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to talk about that.
Did you say that you were going to add the policy to the website, or that, no? you're gonna keep it offline?
I mean, we haven't felt that we needed to necessarily. We don't. It's not even really something as the cases are that we even have on our website anywhere that says like, hey, we have these display cases, because we've never had a problem getting people to garner interest in it, right? Like it kind of does the work for it when people are up there.
Yeah.
So we just kind of keep it like that.
And do the people at the reference desk have the application or
Yep.
something else? Yeah.
They're all very much up to speed on it, and there's one person that manages request to display. It's done very, I mean, it's as formal as like they hand her the application, and then it's an email conversation about when your display month is and when you can set up and when you have to take down, and and then of course there's some legalese in there, right? Like we're not responsible if someone breaks in the display case and steals all your stuff.
Yeah.
You just have to. I mean, it's very much right there in front of everybody, so that would be pretty gutsy to do that. But yeah, that was all. I just wanted to bring that up because I had it before, and I didn't know if everyone knew it was up there. Like Nick, I don't know if Nicole ever goes upstairs.
I know,
See?
but apparently I get the most books from the library.
From the kids section?
That's what he told me on the front.
Really?
Yeah.
I went to ask a question and I had to look at my account, so I said my name, and she was like, "Oh, I know that name." Oh, it's not like I get the most books. She was like, "Your company books."
So
Okay.
I think that
That was a
It's fine.
it was.
No,
I think
no,
it was
I
meant
just
as
think it was a shame thing. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
That is
I
nothing
make
to
them-
be
make
ashamed
them
of.
work
It's
too
like,
hard
that's
or
right, I'm gonna
something.
get more books.
Yeah. More books isn't bad. So I can go on to my next thing. I can group these together. There were 2 or 3 articles in there. But I think it's, if you hadn't been aware, I certainly want to make sure the board is aware of this kind of broader library news that's going on. So one of them is at a federal level, and I don't know where this stands, but basically the federal government, someone has created, of course, what we're calling a federal level book banning bill. This has been our life since 2020, basically. This would be, I mean, it's already kind of scary to think about, legislation that informs how censorship can take place, but at a federal level, that's very scary. The way it's being, at least currently, is written, it would be only for institutions that have a certain amount of federal funding. That would not be this library, right? We don't have any federal funding. So even if something like this were to make its way through, it wouldn't directly affect us, at least right away. Regardless of that, though, I just think it's something to keep your eye on. As we, for some reason, continue to have to talk about this, and
Can I
it's
ask
like
this?
1984.
I didn't get to go to the librarian's movie.
Yeah.
I watched it later. What was the reaction of the audience? That kind of thing?
Oh, and I can tie that in because I was going
Okay,
to talk about
yeah.
that, but that's good. That's a good point. So we showed a documentary film called The Librarians.
That was scary.
Yeah, and you might be able to find it now online. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Is it on
Yes,
PBS?
Yeah.
So we did this at the museum, and then we had a Q&A panel after. I moderated it with another director colleague of mine who is currently up in Garfield County, so Glenwood Springs. He certainly he didn't talk too much specifically about that, but he's had a lot of things come up in that area of the state. A teacher librarian who moved here from Florida, so she had a lot of stories from Florida. And then another Colorado person who was on the panel we did 2 years ago when we showed another film called The ABCs of Book Banning. She was on that panel, and she has a story that's well known in Colorado because she used to work for High Plains Library District and was wrongful termination, and she sued them and won.
Yes.
And it was because they didn't like that she was planning LGBTQ programming basically.
I remember.
So she won that. So they all had a lot to speak about. And I think, so the feedback that I've seen, and I was looking at that today, people really like the program. A lot of people share, they just didn't know the extent of what's been going on, and really liked the panel. And I think it's good that we do that for these events like this. There was, some feedback. They wished there could have been audience participation, and we have done that before. We did, people that it required registration, and people that registered got an email that they could pre-submit questions, and so some did. Some people maybe didn't see that, And we've done other programs where we do an impromptu Q&A where people can raise their hand and get on mic. It's hard, these things go fast. Like, I only had 4 questions, and it was hard to get through that. Not hard in a bad way, just there's a lot to talk about. And everyone had something to say, and that's what. But really, people liked it.
Good.
So, and I actually brought this legislation up there as one of my. It had just come out a few days before, so it was very timely. And so there was some conversation around that too. Yeah. But that legislation, the American Library Association's made a formal statement denouncing it. There's a lot of conversation going on. I don't know where it's at currently, but I'll keep an eye on it. I want to too. The other article I think I sent was a Denverite article, which is not necessarily on this topic, but again, very interesting to me that the mayor of Denver put an executive order in involving local law enforcement, so Denver police and sheriffs, and what they can do or not do if there's ICE agents, and how they can respond. And the reason I sent it is, it's pretty bold, like if there's certain circumstances, he's basically saying that city police or sheriffs could actually arrest an ICE agent for doing something that they deem illegal. So there's that. But what he defined in his executive order as sanctuary places included public libraries, which I've never seen before, right? In all this that's been going on, it's been like places of worship, hospitals, like ICE agents can't go just march in there. It was interesting to me. I asked the director of the Denver Library, this is interesting, can you really do this? It's a public library. So, what we do in the city is anyone can come in a public library, but staff areas are restricted unless you have a specific type of warrant. So these are just things we're paying attention to. She said, yeah, I don't know. I imagine if something like that happened, it would probably end up in court. Because, and I did ask our city legal, I'm not asking to do the same thing, but how can they do that? And he said, well, I think you'd have to have a policy in place that would require that anyone that come into the library is there specifically to participate in library programs or use library services. I said, well, define that. He said, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a service to come in here and sit and stare at a wall, right? So it just doesn't, I don't know. It's interesting to me. Again, it's just news for you to kind of consider and follow through, I guess.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Yeah.
Because I think last month at the end of the meeting, I asked about the behavior policy for people that come in and you were going to kind of give us a little update on that. And I also would like to know what's the policy about Longmont police coming in, because I do remember, this might have been before you were here, because it seems like it's a long time ago, but I was here one time and there were a couple of police officers dealing with somebody at the circulation desk.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just curious, what's the policy? What do they consider, their responsibility? Or
so city police are city employees. They can come in here and they can come into staff areas.
Okay.
There's no issue with that.
Yeah.
that- typically, city police won't come. They don't necessarily patrol the library, right?
Yeah,
they
no,
will
this
come
was-
if
they were
we
called.
call or if there is a call made,
Yeah.
and we'll respond accordingly.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's what was happening.
oh
They've been-
yeah,
They've been
yeah,
called.
and that's how.
And they were
that can
talking to
happen.
this person who
Mhm.
was a little out of it, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that can happen, and if we have to make a call to dispatch for whatever the reason, and a lot of times it is a health related reason,
Yeah.
or someone will just say, hey, like they fell, like can you please call for me? We'll call them, and various people will show up, right? Not
Mhm.
just medical and fire, but police will show up too. So, things you don't want to see too often. We don't really. We have a standards of behavior policy, which informs how we approach behavior, right? We don't target anybody for how they look or anything like that. It's all behavior driven. And there's specific things from the city as far as people who maybe are just sitting somewhere or even asleep. And that's what we encounter more of is
Yeah.
people falling asleep and how we approach that. And generally staff will approach that. We don't want people sleeping here for their own safety. That pure and simple. It's a safety concern. So we will wake people up. And if it becomes a problem, then we get our own security, library security, to help with that. And usually with some suggestions, right? Like go get some fresh air, come back. We try to not make it an issue, but you do have to be awake and alert when you're in here. I think one of the things I thought of to your question last month and looking forward in time to maybe in the summer or fall when we start maybe bringing some staff back here
Mhm.
again,
Yeah.
as far as sort of overviews of their areas of library or specific areas. I think I was mentioning like adult literacy would be a newer thing here, so it'd be good to have. My thought on that too, as it relates back to this, would be to have my campus security supervisor come and talk about standards of behavior and the approach that he and his team make with that, which I think would answer, and then you could fire away with questions.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just curious, because I'd like to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So campus security, does that mean they're responsible for the library and the
Civic
the
center.
civic center next door?
Yeah, and other sites as well. So some, like we have somebody that's over at the Memorial Building and they patrol Roosevelt Park.
Okay.
And then they do rounds to some other areas. I don't know how that's designated because I don't make that decision. But 99% of their time is library.
Okay.
But they do have some other responsibilities. Yeah. Any questions or anything on those pieces of news? Such as it is.
How often does this library ever have to deal with like book banning,
So
corruption, people?
So in my time here anyway, formal challenges to the collection, I've received 3 or 4 total. I've been here 3.5 years. It's not.
There's not like a targeted
No.
action or anything.
No, and knock on wood, I'm
Yeah.
grateful for that. I've had a few and I've responded accordingly to those. I haven't removed anything from the collection based off those, nor have I even moved them.
I think you did talk about this. I think you talked about this.
Yeah, and when I do get a challenge, and I don't know if that's happened since you've been here, I do bring that to the board
Okay.
and I share what my response is.
Okay. I don't know.
So I think it's been a couple years since I'm not asking for them, FYI. So that's fine. And I have talked about it too since, because there is newer state legislation on this, which requires that libraries have policies in how we approach people that make challenges to our collection, which helps protect us and it helps protect library staff from being criminalized for removing or not removing something. It's certainly in response to the national climate on this. I mean, for sure. Most challenges that or actual bans that have happened since 2020 are initiated by groups, not by individuals, and they infiltrate boards and commissions, usually school boards, not public library. And Longmont probably, and I don't want to take this for granted, but we're probably not a public library that's going to garner that because it's probably not going to really get anywhere. They've tried to get into the school board. I remember Susie was telling me this when she was here, to try and infiltrate that and start censoring things. The public libraries that tend to be targeted in that sense by groups or individuals are for sure in different states that have different politics. I mean, it's just, I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah.
So they know where they can get it done.
That was the scariest thing about that movie.
Right.
Somebody said at one point that there had been no book ban requests from members of the public or
Right.
parents or anybody else
No.
until this group came
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
started
Yeah.
pushing it.
you're right.
Yeah.
It is. And that's also, so like the state legislation informed us, and I'm sure I brought this here at the time, so we rewrote our collection development policy and our, what we call it in library land, a challenge response, or a challenge that can be made is called request for reconsideration. I'm sure you know this. I don't know, it's library lingo, I guess. I mean, it does make sense, but
Yeah.
it's basically a challenge to something that they want it usually removed. Sometimes people will just say that this isn't appropriate in the teen area. It's an adult book. That was one of mine. It was a graphic novel. Actually, it was already in the adult collection. But that thing can happen, and sometimes things can get moved if it could be classified or cataloged incorrectly, and it really should be an adult and not teen or even
Yeah.
younger.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
there's nothing
okay.
stopping a teen from going into the
Well,
adult
I know.
section.
But well, some libraries have been
Oh, I
forced to
know.
institute that, and it puts the burden on staff to have to make a decision. If a teen comes and be like, you can't check this out, now whose fault is it? That's why
Yeah.
the people in that film are being faced with criminal charges.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I know. It's very distressing.
It is. Yeah. So what was I saying?
I forget where we were talking about.
Something
Is
about
your
the-
policy?
Well, and it was, I was talking about the request for.
Yeah. So you have a policy. and-
Oh, I know. So the state because it said like, we had a policy already.
Yeah.
But we tightened it up, and one of them is that we won't accept a challenge from any group or entity. It has to be from an individual. That was one of the things we did. We also now, we require you to be a Longmont resident and a card holder. So that's the other thing.
So you-
and I had received my first summer here. This wasn't a book challenge; it was a challenge to a program. Every summer we do, the children's staff does what's called Rainbow Storytime. It's a pride-themed story time. And I got a petition from a few different religious organizations around. I was looking through because they wrote their name and signed it and put their address, and I was thumbing through, and like at least a third of them didn't have Longmont addresses. And they weren't asking me to do anything. They were just trying to say, we don't think you should do the program. No response required. But that was what helped me with the policy. I'm like, I think we can require, and I didn't just make this up. I reached out to a lot of other libraries. Like, yeah, we absolutely require a residency, and you have to be a card holder. And we ask too, like that you've read the whole thing. Now anyone can say yes, but there's just things like that to help protect it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty good with the tightened up policy. That's what I was going to say to all
Good.
this. And those you can, if you are inclined to go to our website and read our collection development policy. The request for reconsideration's in there if you feel like you want to. I think that's all I have. No, I have one more item. Totally separate topic. I think this is worth sharing. Through the city's sustainability department, I don't remember how this came about, but I had an opportunity to have these consultants that the city partnered with. I can't remember the name. I can find this out. Who did like this energy evaluation walkthrough of this whole facility, and it was really telling. But the biggest thing in there is our lighting, our old outdated lighting. And I'm looking into this because there are significant rebates. It would be a huge cost. You think about this is a 51,000 square foot building, but to replace both the lamp structure and the bulbs, everything in here to LED, probably means close to $100,000 project to contract that out, but there's enough rebates, and I'm not sure how that works. It would make it where the final cost to the city would be maybe $10,000. Like huge rebates.
Well, then year over year, I imagine, electricity bills.
Oh, and so the
Replacement
savings
for the
on
bulbs
it, yeah.
and-
It's nearly $5,000 a year in energy savings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there were also numbers in actual energy use savings too, like in the killing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I started to get a little lost. But it was so. I just I'm trying to figure out what avenues there might be to truly look in to the lighting aspect. And oh my gosh, I mean, not just because of the energy, but no one uses fluorescent bulbs anymore. Not just because of the energy use, but it's bad lighting. It gives people headaches. It makes people anxious. We know all this kind of stuff now. It's like it would be a welcome change if we could do that. The other thing we could do at a much less but significant cost would be not the whole lamp, but just the bulbs. Just replace all the bulbs with LED. It still has the same energy savings, but they don't last as long. So you have to replace bulbs a little bit more. But that project doesn't come with any rebates. And so it would actually cost more to do that than do what they actually recommend. There was some other energy things with our water heaters, which we only have for the restaurant. It was the boiler room. There's the HVAC system. There was a lot of stuff there that I don't think had any rebates or anything. But anyway, maybe I'll have more on this. But it's something that we're looking into. One change we made right away is this building is on timers. So, and I met up with the facility staff who could show me the schedule of when lights come on and off. And they were coming on super early in the morning before anybody's here and staying on every night of the week until 10 p.m. And we close at 8 on weeknight, on Monday through Thursday. So we do have some early bird staff, Tracy being one of them, but we still adjusted it where they aren't coming on at 6 a.m. They're going to come on closer to 7. But during the week, we'll shut them off at 9. And that'll even be a bigger savings on Friday, Saturday, Sunday because you close at 5. So that's already in place now. And one of the sustainability people is going to get me some number averages of what that will save.
So this replacing the lights, is that part of the city budget for buildings?
I don't know.
Does it come out of the light? It's like,
That's my
who's
hope.
responsible?
Well, I would like it to be someone else's money.
Yeah.
Um,
Infrastructure.
Yeah. So I'm looking into that.
And
Yeah.
the sustainability offered to help with that?
Not yet. But the person from there that got me connected with this whole evaluation, he hasn't necessarily raised his hand just yet. But I don't know if it's his decision. But I've contacted my boss and the director of facilities. I'm like, what can we do to get this done? And I don't know how the rebates work. I mean, I would imagine you have to front the bill and then wait for the money, which is a little hard. So I don't know. I would love to try
Yeah.
to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think it just would have a huge impact. That was the last thing. Sorry.
It may depend on the vendor that you go with. Some vendors may have a program where essentially you can get the rebate.
Yeah, right.
Point of sale.
Through the point, like they do the work anyway.
Yeah.
That's your report.
Uh-huh.
Can I bring up something that I heard from a member of the public?
Please.
That, just to kind of let you know, she was talking about the books in the bag for book clubs,
Yeah.
where you have 10 copies of the same book. They've read them all. They want new ones. And it seems like.
Well, that's good feedback.
Yeah,
Okay.
her book club is, because this is a great service, because then people don't have to go out and buy 10 copies of the book.
You know, and I don't know how often, I obviously
Yeah,
don't know how often.
yeah.
I'll make a note. I don't know how often they,
Change
come
them
up
out.
with new ones or
Yeah.
change them out.
Yeah.
I'm sure part of it's on, even though this group's read them all, there's probably some books in the bag that have only had one checkout, probably by that group.
It could be, yeah.
But I will.
Yeah, but I just thought,
Yeah.
something I heard.
They're costly to put together.
Yeah,
So we
you gotta buy
have a
10
ton.
copies.
Yeah.
I was gonna say in the interim, you might wanna reach out to the Friends Board, because they either already do or have been talking about assembling book club bags for the sales that they do, because it's often that they'll have multiple copies
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the same book,
There was a book I
and
saw.
they're not selling,
Yeah.
they're just
They,
in the
they
boxes.
did already have,
They're-
did you see they
they're
had
doing some
things wrapped and,
themes.
yeah,
So I know that part of that discussion was also
okay.
like a bunch of the same book that they would
Yeah.
package and market to, to people who have book clubs. But they might be doing that, like slowly accruing those downstairs somewhere
Mhm.
until they have like a critical mass so they can put it out. But
Yeah,
Wanda and Lois would be the best
okay.
contacts for that. If they're just like desperate for something. I don't know. I don't know what happened with that. But. So we have some upcoming engagement opportunities. These are public events involving the city or the library or both, in which board members may choose to attend and represent the library in some fashion. It's not necessarily that there's going to be a table or there's going to be a specific slot for you to plug into as a volunteer, but I actually am not familiar with a lot of these. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. These are library programs.
These are all library programs.
These are all
yeah.
library programs. And then Dia del Nino is who hosts that?
It's also a library.
That's a library program. It's
okay.
Our outreach person does that, right?
I've seen different
Ask
events
Tracy.
around that.
You
Yeah,
ask
Tracy, this is your agenda item now.
No,
I just went.
Dia del Nino is Children's Day essentially, but it's a program that our children's department puts on. I think sometimes it has been done by outreach, but this is more from the children's side. And it's a kind of a family type of event, so it'll be requiring registration and really focused on like the full family essentially. So that's kind of their focus. But yeah, this is a program that's happening in April for Children's Day. And it is bilingual as well.
They sound interesting, but why are they all at dinner time?
Well,
They are earlier. Yeah,
well,
that's
yeah.
when we eat dinner.
It's cattail lobster.
I'm not too sure, I don't know a lot about it. We've done programs with that presenter before, and you know he's a legal botanist, but he does a lot of work with survival plants in Colorado is the workshop name. He does a lot of work with the like medicinal properties and things like that of especially plants native to Colorado.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That'd be interesting.
The Shakespeare one is supposed to be really good.
I think I read about that in one of the library emails. now.
Who is Michael Whitmore? Is he a professor or?
I don't know
Just
a lot about him. I know we've had a program with him previously, the Javille, I believe. But yeah, this is kind of his presentation on Shakespeare's writing style, but more or less. He's a scholar of Shakespeare, actually.
Any other comments? Or spontaneous agenda items?
I guess I'm curious, how's the Friends doing? I feel like, so I went to a couple meetings, I know Katie is supposed to go to the meetings sometimes, but I don't know if she's been.
So it wasn't that the two of you were alternating?
I went to like 2 meetings,
Okay,
and then I stopped.
okay.
I think technically she was the liaison, so I didn't know if she was ever going sometimes, but I can't go this month, whatever it is, this week or next week,
It's
whatever
this
it is. Is it this week? Yeah, okay. But I can go next month, so I can go in April if that's helpful to us. And then I know Friends was occasionally sending, someone was showing up, but now they're not. So I'm just curious
Yeah.
how they're doing, and are you requesting anything? But I'm happy to go in April, if that's helpful.
I'm really curious too. I've felt like we had a structure or we fell off that structure or it just hasn't been on a schedule. But it's been a while since I feel like we've checked in with them. So I'm very appreciative that you're offering to do that next month. I was going to, in the absence of that, invite Wanda or Lois to come next month to this meeting.
Wanda is always invited to these meetings. Unfortunately, I don't often hear from her directly, whether
Right.
she'll be in person. And I think for the most part, the last several meetings, she has not been here. So,
Right.
But
So-
it's also probably her availability, but yeah.
Maybe a personal connection with her and to say, if you were not able to make it, we would like a report from the Friends Board, would you?
We can bring it up at the board meeting.
Yeah,
Just
Right,
kind of a
and
check-in,
John
like, are you still
Tracy.
wanting to come to these, or, are you able to send somebody? I mean,
I know you guys are in.
We're
meetings
there,
too,
you know,
so like
it's
if anything ever is interesting,
Yeah.
please let us know.
I mean,
but-
minimally we can share, because we're the one that makes the request for funding.
Yeah, that's what I. Yeah.
So what are we bringing to them this month, actually?
This month it'll be fairly minimal, just another, basically funding for this year for the Adult Creative Nights program. So that's just a continuation of that program essentially. Last month's meeting, we made the formal request for summer reading program, just to get that in place. That's been the biggest kind of requests lately.
Do they have any? They've never done any collections funding. Like, if you needed a big.
I won't say never.
Okay.
I've not asked for it.
Okay. But it's not like
but
it's not verboten. It's not like you couldn't ask.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
And then
I don't.
can a member of the public go to the Friends and be like, I mean, I know with collections I can just fill out the little form online. But like, what if I feel really strongly about like, I don't know, do you know what I mean? Like, is there a way to be like, this library is sorely lacking in encyclopedias? Like, what happens at that point?
I mean, I think for that, yeah, you could go online. You could talk to me, honestly, and I could bring that forward. I don't know that it wouldn't be something I would recommend, like, going right to the Friends about.
I'm just,
You know what I mean?
If like,
Yeah.
if a random member of the public, I'm not saying me, 'cause
Yeah.
I know I can just ask
Yeah.
you. I could also just ask the Friends, but I'm just saying, is the best channel for a member of the public is to just fill out that form?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, I
And then
do.
how often do those get, like, how often do you get those, and how often do they get approved? Is it is it like 100% because there's only 2 of them a year, or is it, like, what happens?
Well, I don't see those come into you. I feel like people fill them out just with some regularity.
Okay.
I did one
And
before I was on
and,
this
and,
board.
and I know one thing I can tell you is that there's probably a decent percentage of people that submit those requests that don't really look, and then we let them know, like, we already own that item. They just
Oh,
never
okay,
searched for it.
interesting.
You know, so they're just using it as, you know, like, they didn't look.
Mhm.
It's like, you should really have this book. It's like, well, we do. We have 5 copies.
Mhm.
You know,
Okay.
that's some of them, for sure. And then, but staff look at them and they look at our collection. They'll also look consortium wide too, because even if we don't own it, if there are copies in our consortium, and there's not like long hold lists, or you know, then we may or may not buy it.
Yeah, okay.
I put in a request once because there was a fantasy series in the teen section, and a couple of new books had come out, and you didn't have them, and so I put in a request and explained, you know, this is this fantasy series, it's really popular, but there are 2 new ones. I think you ought to get them, and I got a very quick response from a staff member.
Yeah.
Saying, oh yes, we'll order those, do you want to put a hold on them when they come in? I said, yeah, please.
And that's
So-
part of the form you can fill in.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
indicate, like,
Yeah.
put it on hold for me.
I would like to have that.
Yeah.
But, you know, they got them like very quickly.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I was, you know,
Yeah, I've done the same thing where I've gotten a book.
Yeah. It's, you know,
Eventually. Yeah, yeah, so, yeah.
Well-
Okay, I was just curious if that was a comment. Just because I know that the Friends does not typically do a collections
Right.
funding. So,
Yeah.
So I was just curious how that
Yeah.
works.
They certainly can. I mean, there's really no parameters.
Mhm.
It's just been set over the years because we do have, even though I would say it's underfunded, we have a collection budget, we don't have a programming budget,
Right.
which is, so that's, to me, is a priority. We have
For
to
sure.
have programs,
Definitely.
story times, everything. So that's kind of the priority. I think the Friends will say, like, we basically support library and literacy very generally.
Mhm.
So it's not to say that that couldn't happen.
Okay.
I think the other piece that feels significant is that most of the things that the Friends fund, the request comes through John or library staff. That's the channel, is for the library staff, John, to identify what the need is and what they want to, how they want to responsibly, you know, tap that funding source. And, you know, is this thing in context of all the other things that might be a need or might be funded by the Friends, like, is this a top priority or that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I used to attend those meetings every month, and I'm not aware of any funding requests for the library coming through any other channel.
Right.
Or the Friends saying, we want to fund this. John, whether you need it or not.
No, that definitely doesn't happen.
Here's $5,000, go buy this thing because we think you should have it.
No, that's definitely not the way that works.
But, you know, I do want to try and get back to that in-person connection, even if it's like once a quarter even, to keep that, that relationship, so that we can continue talking about opportunities for collaboration and sort of combining our strengths for some of these bigger library initiatives when they come up, right? Like if we have another ballot thing during an election or some other larger project where we can really support one another. Okay.
Can I add a few things?
Okay.
I had coffee with council on Saturday, and a gentleman came with a big yellow sign that says, Ward 3 needs recreation and a library. And I said, well, we are putting in the library locker at the Ascent on Culver. So, granted.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're still
Yeah.
has to work on recreation there. Also, we had talked about the America 250 initiative this year, Colorado 150, and then it turns out that Longmont is 155 years old.
Yeah.
We had the first public library in the state, as you just said today, but also one of the few standing Carnegie libraries.
Right.
And I think we had talked before about some maybe storytelling. This is a really good opportunity to promote for the library and also promote for the library board, if you would, if we have time to do that between here and there. We've had, we have a redesign the flag initiative that's going on. Art Public Places is gonna take that initiative, come up with a process. So they'll be asking for artists to submit, and then the school district has kind of jumped on with that as maybe wanting to have a category for students. And the Longmont Rotary, who funded the last flag that we had, that was designed in 1974. So, there's been a lot of interest about different types of parades. People still want the pet and dog parade. No, pet and doll parade. That I think kids have. I don't know if any of you were around, but I think I saw it once or twice. Yeah.
Pet
Dolls?
Pet and doll.
and doll
Dolls?
Uh-huh.
together.
Isn't that interesting?
Are the dolls mounted on the pets? Little saddles.
I bet you
Other way
somebody
around.
has done that.
Somebody's done
I
that.
could find that somewhere. But then in the discussion of that, what I found was that a lot of adults want to have a dog show. I'm just throwing it out there because this is all the discussions that we've had about America 250.
Oh, it's connected with that?
Well, as we've been talking about
It's
things,
more
people
American
want
than story.
Yeah, like,
parades
what
or
kind
they're
of events
nostalgic
can we
for
do?
something that
Yeah.
they had done before, and it's a historic time, and
Interesting.
Okay.
yeah, that's.
I absolutely will not attend a parade that has dolls in it. That sounds scary.
Some of them can be.
Well,
Dolls are
just,
scary.
like,
They can be,
holding them
yeah.
out, like, I love doll
They're
collections.
in their little strollers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kids love to.
Stroll with their dogs.
I've come and see a doll exhibit at the library, like in one of the
You know what? We have display
display
cases. You're welcome to.
But
Display your
Display the-
dolls with all those eyes.
That's
some people
Some.
love that stuff.
Some people do.
I know. To each their own. So
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Oh, and then just to refer back to something you mentioned, we are in a moderate drought.
Yeah.
They'll be putting forth any restrictions probably in May or end of April. We actually,
Neighbors would be very upset. They
Well,
watered everything constantly.
we have some of the best, oldest water rights, so that Longmont actually has a lot of storage compared to other towns, but just out of solidarity and because conservation is important to us. We're talking about a 30% reduction. So at council, this was last month, they said maybe drop one day of watering and take a minute less in your shower. Very doable. So we don't know if that'll get more strict.
A 30% reduction on our 3-minute showers.
And or just drop a day on the lawn, Okay.
Just take one shower a week for 20 minutes.
Oh, and then that's the other thing, I think that the water conservation group has,
I lived in Morocco for a while.
I think they've sent out a
Shower.
letter, although I haven't seen it yet, to not water until May,
Right.
so.
Or you could just cut
That's all I
back your
have.
AI searches.
Oh, we didn't talk about our AI.
Recycling water anyway.
Recycle one.
The AI, the data centers.
Oh,
It's not usable though
It's recycled for cooling.
for cooling. Yeah.
So within the data center, it's recycled.
Yeah. It's not like it's.
So I think when people talk about how much water use, golf courses use about 8 times the amount of water, and beef uses like double the golf course use. So when we're talking about AI, it's like yes, it's probably problematic in many ways. With the water use compared to other things.
Our turkey plant used a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Do the golf courses get restrictions in Longmont?
Yeah, I think they fall under the don't water till May.
They've had the water
Conservation.
already.
They've had water already.
A little bit. It's been so dry.
And there's
Yeah,
also
yeah, I've had
pulls
a
for
lot.
irrigation to farmland now already. So
Oh,
that
the
usually doesn't start
pools.
till April.
Will it affect like the pools?
No, those water rides are somewhat dedicated anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have neighbors who water their lawn throughout the winter.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. They buried their water lines really deep so that they can do it throughout the winter every year.
Are they from here?
I don't think so.
Well, I always get sent to talk to those people from Texas and what have you. They say, well, we have money, and it's like, we don't have water.
Talk to my neighbors.
Just don't want to
Water
look at my
during
lawn.
the rain.
Yeah, that's what really counts.
I mean, we shouldn't really have all those types of grasses in Colorado.
No,
It's
Everyone should.
I'm ready for
Everyone loves a
I'm ready for the
lawn.
natural
We should-
weeds to repopulate.
Anyway,
Some xeriscaping.
Yeah. Well, and then there's
I have a
HOAs
huge
that
lawn.
require that you have
Yeah,
grass. It's just
exactly.
What came with that?
I think that's illegal though now, isn't it?
I don't know, but
I don't
our
know.
HOA does,
I don't know if we're
What?
allowed to anymore.
requires that the front grass.
I don't think you can require grass anymore. I think
There's a
that's
state
illegal.
law
Yeah.
that says you have to allow xeriscaping.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so the HOA, yeah.
Can I take my lawn? I don't
You know,
know.
Resource
Alright.
Resource Central will remove your turf and, you know, help you make plans for the perennials.
Well, I plant plenty of
It's got
plants.
to become a whole new gardening project.
Yeah.
Doesn't use much water.
No, I think that's it, unless you have questions for me.
No, I'm going to adjourn this meeting, at 8:53, so whoever wants to continue chit-chatting may do so.